We have a quorum, and by law, we are required to have a public budget hearing. So I'm opening this portion of the meeting for the public budget hearing. Would anybody from the public like to speak to the Dennett's budget? Seeing no one from the public who'd like to speak to our budget, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Do I have a second? All those in favor? All right, great. Well, on to our regular scheduled meeting. We have our second grade teachers here, Mrs. Shaheen and Mrs. T. Nice to see you both. I hope you had a great vacation. Sorry you have to come back to work tomorrow. I'm dreading it myself, but excited at the same time to finish up the school year. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes from our January 28, 2019 meeting, please?
So moved.
All right, do I have a second? All right, all those in favor? There's been no correspondence to the school committee that I'm aware of.
I have received none.
Thank you very much. So on to new business, water testing results. I suspect this is you, Mr. Veneto.
Nothing really new to update. We do still have the people from Green Seal that are going to be hopefully working with us to see exactly why we're getting the high levels of lead that we're getting.
All right, have we taken the front or downstream reading yet?
Yes, Dave Candias took that a week and a half ago. I haven't gotten the results back.
Okay, all right. So on to unfinished business, playground safety, accessibility, modernization. John and I are meeting for the public hearing with the Community Preservation Committee, I believe next Tuesday evening. And they intend to vote on the measure at that meeting. So far, we have heard no feedback that has been negative at all about our application for the playground funding from the community preservation funds. On to power lines.
We were just speaking about that a minute ago. We've been told that we're on the list, and with 35% of the town's power out right now, I'm guessing that we just slipped down a notch on the priority list, but we will stay on top of it.
How's the generator working for you?
Excellent. Christine and I were just commenting, we have internet right now, I'm online. These lights are working, this room has heat. A couple of our bathrooms closest to this area have heat. So everything that we put on the generator seems to be working properly.
Great. So again, last year we had a failure of the generator. We worked together with the Finance Committee and with the selectmen of the town to come up with the plan to install a new generator here at the Dennett Elementary School, which would increase our capability and allow us to be a heating and safety center during townwide emergencies. So right now the power is actually out here at the Dennett, and we're able to hold our meeting in relative warmth and comfort, and even have access to the Wi-Fi right now. So it seems like a great success, and just like to thank the town for working with us again to deal with that mid-year emergency. So thank you. All right. Report of standing committees. Administrative review.
My goals went out with evidence, I believe, and they are due back. I actually did not receive the email.
I believe it's March 27th.
That sounds about right. So you have the copy of the evaluation. Lisa made it so that you can actually input it directly into the form this year, so you can do it online, save it, and then just send it back, so you don't have to deal with hard copies. So that would be great if you have an opportunity to fill that out.
Excellent. Negotiations.
We are not in negotiations anywhere in Plimpton.
Great. And,
Happy to say.
Absolutely. I know that Mike's on his way, so we'll hold off on our Union 31 update.
Okay.
PAC.
I had not attended the meeting since our last meeting.
Okay, and on to policy. I'd like to make a motion to waive the actual reading of the policies.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor? All right, so I'm going to make this motion, okay, because this is a long one, just to get through it. I make a motion to accept policies AC, ACAB, ADF, EFD, GBA, GBE, BD, GCF, IJND, ILD, JB, JFABE, JFABF, JICH, JJF. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All right. Capital improvements and capital requests. We're good
No
there?
update, yep, no
Okay.
updates, no changes.
Legislative agent, got to keep this short and simple. Next Wednesday, we have an opportunity to sit down together at the Boston Tavern to discuss Chapter 70 funding and the proposals coming from the State House. If you'd like to join, the cost of dinner will be on MASC. You can go to their website to sign up. They've also announced their Day on the Hill for May 1st. Day on the Hill is a very interesting opportunity to meet with state reps and state senators to go over some of the policy points that MASC has been trying to push through on Beacon Hill during this budget cycle. And it's also an opportunity to get fed by some of the best culinary programs in all of Massachusetts, right in the rotunda of the State House itself. It's an amazing opportunity. So that, again, is on MASC's website. There's a lot of information coming from Beacon Hill about Chapter 70 funding, trying to meet the gap between what the current foundation budget is and what has been recommended by the Foundation Budget Review Commission, but there's no hard and fast bills coming forward at this point for the budget cycle. All right, single signature warrants.
There were none.
Great. On to CASA. Do we have a CASA report?
So CASA, they did the fun run, the talent show, which is always a big event. Where one art is going to be next in line with that being ordered, should be back in time for Mother's Day. And I guess Wally from the Red Sox is coming to read
Oh,
March 7th. And a few other things that I'm not aware of.
That's by far the most exciting report of the evening.
by
Thank
far.
you for that. All right, on to the principal's report. Peter.
Thank you. On my report, we have current enrollment is at 201. The important dates, if I could follow what Stephanie was describing, we had CASA set out to do their big fundraiser this year. We had the booster-thon, people come in. We had our fun run the week before vacation, and very happy to say that CASA reached their goal of $10,000. That's a huge fundraiser for the school in this town, so that's that was a big one. And because the kids hit the goal of $10,000, I've agreed to be green slimed. So that date and time will be shared as soon as we have that worked out. And I'm sure the cameras will be rolling.
Mr. Veneto, do you remember a time where CASA in the school community has ever been able to raise 5 figures into the...
No, I actually asked Sarah Perio, and she said a big seller for them or a big fundraiser for them would have collected around $2,000. So this is, like I said, like 5 times their largest collector ever.
Wow.
That's saying a lot.
Well, congratulations to CASA for organizing that event, and also thank you to the school community and extended families for kicking in donations to our children.
It's great. And as was just mentioned, we have Wally the Green Monsters coming on March 7th. March 7th is also an early release day. That's a 12 o'clock dismissal, no lunch served. So I'll send a reminder to the community. That also ends term 2. Can't believe this, but March 8th begins term 3. On March 12th, CASA has a meeting at 7 o'clock here in the library. March 14th through the 21st, we have our Dennett Book Fair, because on March 21st, we have early release 12:45 for parent conferences. And again, I'll send a reminder about that. Then March 25th, we have school committee at 5 o'clock, hopefully back in the Dennett Library.
Excellent. Mr. Veneto, do you have an update on potential numbers for our incoming kindergarten class for next year?
I do. As a matter of fact, we just got number 40 today.
Number 40. So again, usually by this time of the year, we have a general sense of where we're going to be. We know our outgoing 6th grade class is currently at the 20.
Correct.
So we'll expect a net increase of 10% of students if we're going from 200 to 220 next year, correct?
Good math.
Okay, just wanted to
Excellent.
make sure we're on that page before we talk about our budget this evening. Thank you very much, Mr. Veneto. Any questions for our principal? All right. On to our Director of Business Services, Christine.
Mr. Benito, did you want to have this voted?
Oh, I did, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Last month
I always have his back.
Thank you.
School improvement plan with hopes that folks would have a chance to take a look at it and perhaps I would ask for a vote to approve if you see fit.
Yeah, I read through the whole school improvement plan, but it was a well thought out school improvement plan. Somebody who sat on SICs before. Would anybody like to make a motion to accept the school improvement plan for the 2018-2020 timeframe?
Correct.
Okay. So moved. Do I have a second? Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? All right. Plan's approved.
No worries.
Sorry about that, Peter. Didn't mean to skip over that on you. All right, on to Christine now.
As you know, I do this a few times a month going over the financial, and this one is delightful. Because there are, I don't think there are any problems. We have a couple of really minor deficits that will be absorbed in the categories. Even in areas like special education where we have a surplus to transportation and content services. On your financial tuition has a deficit, but that is before circuit breaker is applied. Once that's applied, we will know that deficit. And then we continue to have our surplus in out-of-district vocational of approximately 47,000. Any questions on that?
Any questions for our director? Do we have warrants going around tonight?
Yes, we do have one.
Did you both get a chance to sign that? Just make sure we get a third signature on them. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you, Christine. On to our assistant superintendent, Jill.
Thank you. The state is anticipating a large number of educator licensure renewals this June, so we held a licensure requirement information session on January 7th, I apologize, on January 7th for our faculty. Also listed in your report, you'll see the required 150 professional development points required to renew professional licensure in a core area. And it's broken down by the different areas that people need to obtain. And there have been some changes over the last couple of years, primarily the number of PDPs related to sheltered English immersion, PDPs related to special education, and the difference in the breakup between content and pedagogy. So there's more choice for teachers in the core, but there's also added areas of requirements that are new for teachers. In February, our attorney, Fred Duperret, provided us with a Title IX training session to help us to resolve and deal with issues related to harassment and discrimination in our schools. And so our entire leadership team participated in that training. Our educational stability review has been submitted, and we have been asked to submit policies for homelessness, military-involved students, and foster care students. And so I provided our attorney with a draft, and our attorney has since reviewed those, and then those have been presented to Joy to share with the policy subcommittee. So you'll notice that a few of the policies will need to be changed in order to meet state regulations or guidelines. And so those are available for you. That's something that we have to do as part of our educational stability review. And then today was our professional development day, and we started off the morning with workshops that related to self-awareness and self-management. And the teams were broken up by grade level or departments, and it was a common presentation, and the conversations were lively, and I heard a lot of positive reviews about our presenters. We trained a whole leadership team so that each of the groups could work in smaller, more personalized sessions in the morning. And then we broke out into wellness sessions for an hour, and that was led by both teacher facilitators as well as community facilitators. We then broke for lunch, and then the afternoon, teachers and counselors spent the time thinking about ways they would incorporate what they learned into their practices. So it was district-wide, and it was just today. And in your packet, you'll see a copy of the agenda and a copy of the wellness offerings that staff could select. And finally, we had our on-site visit for the tiered focus monitoring review, which is our civil rights and special education review. We used to refer to it as CPR, Coordinated Program Review. And so that took place in February. The superintendent will be sent a draft. We will have 10 days to respond to that, and then within 65 days, I believe it is, 60 business days, they will have the final report posted to the Department of Education website. And so they visited a number of our schools, and they reviewed our document review, and we'll have the findings soon. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jill. All right, on to our superintendent for our FY20 budget discussion.
Thank you. So I've been reaching out to the town administrator, Elizabeth Dennett, to find out when we'll be able to get some feedback from the town in terms of what the town's needs are with our budget. They are hoping to tentatively hold a meeting next Monday at 5 o'clock. I have a Halifax School Committee meeting at 6, so hopefully we can sort of squeeze it in there. Liz is meeting with the Finance Committee this evening, and she'll have a better sense if that schedule will work with everyone. So at that point, we'll have a little bit of feedback. One of the things that we have done is we've been reviewing the budget at our office. Christine and I spent a little time this afternoon reviewing it. There's a couple things that we would have the capacity to do with the budget, which may be helpful to the town. One of them is if the school committee and the town wanted us to, we could increase circuit breaker to 65%. We are currently at 60%. That would reduce the overall budget by $5,491. Not a huge decrease, but again, may be helpful for the town. The math subcommittee, I don't know what it was called, actually. What was the guys that tested the math textbooks called? No, but there was, Melissa had teachers from all the different grade levels that tested the math textbooks. I totally drew a blank on what they called themselves. They decided on the Envisions math program, and the actual, she has a proposal from the company, and it is $4,000 less than what we had submitted. So those are two areas that wouldn't change what we are able to do with the Dennett, but would potentially offer a little bit of release for the town in terms of some of the finances. The other thing that Christine did was she did another look again at utilities, and she feels we could reduce the gas bill by $1,000. If the school committee chose and would like us to make all those changes, that would be a reduction in the budget of $10,491.
Which is about 0.3%?
Yeah.
Okay.
that's about right.
What would that get us to?
Well, our overall increase right now is 3.79, so it would bring it down to closer to probably 3.5, 3.5. Something along those lines. I didn't actually do it out. Marie is also currently reviewing all the special ed numbers to see if there's been any other changes. Hey, Mike, I'm not sure if, where that's going to land, but those are three things that we can look at right now that potentially would be helpful probably for the town, if you'd like us to come forward with a version 2.
Hi, Mike.
Hey. Generator's working good.
Yeah, it's great, yeah.
I feel comfortable increasing circuit breaker from 60 to 65 based on what I've seen coming from Beacon Hill. I actually think it might be close to 70 this year or even above. I appreciate how conservative you are in your planning. It always helps for us to have a little bit of wiggle room.
Yep.
So I think at this time we could definitely increase our budget to reflect a 65% return from circuit breaker. Also, I mean, if we have the proposal for Envision on the table, unless anybody has any major objection to us going after Envision, I see no reason not to change it to the actual bill.
Envision would be K to 6?
Yes, K to 5.
Okay. To 5.
Through 5. 6 is on the same textbook as the middle school, so it eases the transition.
So we'd basically have an elementary book and a middle school book.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So
Most
just two
middle
programs.
schools, yeah, exactly. Most middle schools tend to be a 6 to 8. We're unusual in this district that our
Right.
middle school is 7 and 8.
So I'm comfortable with that $4,000
Yep.
reduction
Okay.
there as well. The gas bill is the only one that concerns me. I just know some years we can get hit a little bit harder.
Not conservative number.
That's her conservative. She's very conservative.
I know you are. And if it wasn't you, I'd be hesitating even more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But bringing us to 3.5 for a budget for this year, noting that we only have 2 areas where we're increasing our budget. I mean, Mr. Veneto brought us a budget with only 2 lines that show any increase, and that was in special ed costs, because we have a greater need in our population of students, and that's what their IEPs say they need, and that's what they're getting from us. And we also have an increase on our teacher line, and it's not because we hired any new teachers. This is a level service budget, if even level service at this point. We're keeping all of our people. We have a lot of teachers who are just getting into their journeyman years of their career, some becoming master teachers, and as that happens, our teachers become a little bit more experienced and a little bit more expensive. But that's what we really hope for. We hope for teachers to stay with us and to develop and to continue to expand their education. And that does cost us some money from time to time. So we have a 3.5% budget on the table if we accept all the reductions that the superintendent just mentioned. And again, all of that increase comes from just 2 lines: taking care of our kids and honoring the contract we have with our teachers.
Exactly.
So can I have a motion to accept all the changes to be put into a version 2 budget? All right, do I have a second? All right, any further discussion about our budget? Seeing none, all those in favor? All right.
Excellent. The only other thing I did want to mention is you had in your budget folder an in-state, out-of-state, but it did not include the 2019 numbers because we just got them in January. So I just wanted to show you where we are in terms of our K-6 students who are in-state and out-of-state in terms of private and parochial schools. These are not special education students, by the way. These are just is there one for Mike? Did I leave one on your table, Mike? Okay, sorry. Sorry about that, Mike. And then you can see where we are for 7 through 12. And again, there's a substantial decrease in 7 through 12, and for Plimpton, it went down 3 students K through 6, and then went down 6 students for 7 through 12. So as far as I'm concerned, it's going in the right direction.
Excellent.
So that's probably the only other change. Again, I did just want to point out that, when Pete did his presentation, he had some proposals on the back for an auto scrubber, roof repairs, the hallway carpet, some of those things. Those are not in the budget. We are hoping that we may be able to take care of some of them this year within the budget. So far, the substitute line item is looking really good. We have no teachers out this year on maternity leave, which is savings for us in terms of our budget. And the other thing that would potentially be an option is we have $47,000 in out-of-district vocational that we can return to the town, or possibly if the town would allow us to use some of those for those building maintenance issues that we could talk about Monday night when we're there. Right now, we have 2 open spaces for out-of-district vocational. We have not had any additional students apply, but they have until April 1st, so we have another month. So by March, I will have a better sense of whether or not we need to keep both of those openings or not. That would potentially be some budget savings. We usually like to have at least 1 open spot, because if somebody moves in, you own them. There's no, you can't send them back. So,
Sorry.
yeah.
Just cycling.
My heart skipped a beat. How about anybody else's?
So I know that we we're talking about giving some money back to the town this year
Yep.
that we didn't spend
Yep.
on a seat we held for an out-of-district vocational student.
Yep.
Just like you mentioned, in
Right.
case one ever moves into town in the middle of the year, we would have had to find that money. So this is traditional
Yes.
for the Dennett School Committee to come back to the town every spring when those seats haven't been filled, to give the money back or to talk with the Finance Committee and Selectmen about how we as a school district here at the Dennett could utilize that funds so it wouldn't have to come out of next year's budget. Speaking to that fact, one of the things we did last year is we actually created a special ed stabilization fund
Right.
where we're allowed to hold 2% of our operational budget in reserve in a, would you call it a revolving account?
It could work like a revolving account because it is separate, it's not like a grant account, so it is more similar to revolving.
Okay.
But they do call it stabilization.
So in this fund, if we had a student move in mid-year and they had substantial special ed costs tied to their educational needs, we could dip into that money, working with the selectmen of the town, again, not to affect our budget mid-cycle. I was thrilled that the town allowed us to create that. It was accepted at town meeting last year, and it was funded. Did we look into how much more money we could potentially put into it for this year?
We are almost right at the top.
Okay.
Yeah, there's very little room to, it might be a couple $1,000, but it's pretty close to the maximum.
Okay. If it's even a couple $1,000s, I know that John would like to keep that at its 2% maximum. So that's something else, if you could get a number for us for our meeting potentially on Monday with the Finance Committee, just so if any warrants need to be drawn up, I don't know exactly. Once it's established, how do you put funds in? I still think it might need an article to do that at town meeting. So if we could just get that info to move forward. Thank you, Christine. All right, so any other questions about the budget? Peter, I know that I say this almost every year, but until you give me reason not to, I'm going to continue to say it. Your budgets are extraordinary. The fact that you keep this building looking as good as it looks, running as well as it runs, and year after year, you're not increasing lines. I don't know how you do it, but I appreciate all the hard work and dedication, and I understand that you're probably going to tell me it's all your staff, but I'm going to say that without good leadership, the staff, the staff wouldn't have the vision and the direction without you, and I appreciate it. All right. So,
I concur.
yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
It is. It's very nice. It's very nice.
All right, we have some important dates that Mr. Veneto mentioned. We have 2 early days in March, one on the 7th, one on the 21st. He will be sending out some reminders for that. Our next school committee meeting is March 25th. That's when we will vote the budget for our fiscal year 20. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. All right.
Yay.
Do I have a second? Are all those in favor? All right, thank you very much, everyone.